honestly, I feel like even one of the responsibilities of having these types of platforms and people following you and doing all of this kind of, I feel like for you to be successful, like to truly be successful, you have to have that kind of response.
Right.
Because, you know, people are following you, they're listening to your content, they're supporting you, you're getting paid by it, you know, all of these types of things, right? And so at the end of the day, I think it's just nice to be nice sometimes.
It is, man. And it makes, I mean, just talking about the story, I'm still happy about it. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Deep MCs, the podcast that seeks to push meaningful conversation to a whole new level. Whether it's for your entertainment or your personal growth, we appreciate you being here today. And now, on to the show. What's going on, man? What's going on?
Same old same.
Same old same. And you know what? I'm going back to that original music on this one. You know why? Because A, I like the color of this button. It's a nice, pretty blue, sky blue, or ocean blue. Bahama,
What was the real reason why we're going back to the original?
Bahama blue.
Because you really like the blue button?
I mean, I like the blue.
Or did you just hit the wrong button when we started?
No, I like the blue button first. Look at that. That reminds me of the crystal clear waters of Hawaii. Right there, right? And this is a nice motivational music, man, because we are going to get into some things today. Yep. What are we getting into today?
All right, so we are going to talk about little things that can have a huge impact. Okay? That can make a huge change. And so, it doesn't take much. Just have to be intentional about it.
Exactly. Little things making a big difference. It's interesting, you know. And God, I always say it's interesting. I say it a lot. You know what?
You do.
I'm getting sidetracked, but I want to. We had the recent podcast with at Steph Up Podcast, and she's been communicating with me through IG.
Okay.
And it's funny because I say it's funny. There goes another one. People are starting to point out these things that I say, and I want to say she was telling me that my catchphrase is, but at the end of the day, because I guess with her,
we both say that.
Yeah,
because I noticed it, you know, when you go back and look at the video, because that's your end, you know, after you've gone through this prolific thought. At the end of the day.
At the end of the day, right? So I was telling her that we need to do a poll and put it up there to see what people think our catchphrases are, right?
I got you.
Because but at the end of the day, what's going on, man? It's funny, you know. There's these
and the "it's funny" is sometimes it's an oxymoron. Is that
exactly
the right word?
Yes, it is. Because sometimes it's not.
It's not funny.
But yeah, at Step Up Podcast, I just want to throw you out there because she did bring that up. And while I'm out there anyway, at Skip the Noise Podcast, I'm putting him out there too because we always rock with him. We appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you guys.
But that right there, that kind of goes into what I was saying, right? The little things, right?
Yeah.
The little shout outs.
Yeah, right.
Like that, right? To be acknowledged, to know that you exist in the world makes a huge difference. And excuse me, the bass is vibrating everything up in my throat. Anyway, we're going off the chain today, but the little things make a big difference. And what really I got from that is it's funny. We have social media now, and we're diving into this realm of social media and really interacting and experiencing, and it kind of hit me how much a simple acknowledgement, something so small as a simple acknowledgement, makes someone feel completely different, right? And I don't know if it's when we were talking about social media, if it's really that person, I would like to think it is, right? I would like to think it is, and it might not be, but if it is, the feeling that it gives you, and what I mean by that is, on our social media, we interact with people, try to get followers out of there, but there's somebody that I follow, and they don't follow me or follow you or follow us or however you want to put it on there, right? On any of our platforms. But I follow Hopsin, and I talked about Hopsin before. Great musical artist, very unique guy, really cool. I don't know him personally, so I guess I'm just assuming from what I see, right?
Yeah.
He's got a very interesting mind, man, like a very creative mind. And I advise anybody out there to go check out Hopsin. He's really cool with the stuff that he does, and he's not afraid to put himself out there and put his feelings out there and just be creative with it. But he went on the lam for a little bit because, the mental health aspect of things, right? Yeah. So he ended up going overseas, and then he kind of got stuck there because of COVID and everything else. And so now he was traveling, I forget, I think it was like in Amsterdam or something, man. And I happened to be on Instagram when he was doing like an IG live situation or something like that, right? I just happened to catch it, right? So, I mean, he has to be there at that point, right? If he's on the IG live, and he was like showing some, I don't know, something, he had hurt his foot or whatever, because he's a skateboarder, which, a black skateboarder is not as rare as it used to be, but it was, but he had hurt his ankle out at one of the skate parks, whatever. Excuse me. And he was like on the recovery portion of it, and I don't know why, like, man, like I'm trying to do a little thing, and I see this person, I don't know him, I mean, I enjoy what he does, and I know that he's had his mental health things, and that's why he's kind of going on where he's going. And he was just like, he was injured at this point, but he was getting better. And I sent like a quick message on him that was just like, hey man, like, hope you heal up, I appreciate your music, man, and you'll get back out there, soon or whatever. Right?
Yeah, right.
And like, no sooner did I send, like maybe a minute later, like he actually responded to it.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
Like actually responded. And I never thought he would
that he would respond.
This is a person that has, a couple million followers.
Gotcha.
Right?
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe it's just the luck of it, or maybe it was just the timing of it. But man, I felt like big shit, bro.
You won the lottery.
I was like, holy shit.
Right.
Like, Hopsin acknowledged something that I said, and to him is probably nothing, right? Like, because I mean, he's a person, right? I mean, he's a pretty down to earth person from what I've seen, but to me, like that set the tone for my whole. You couldn't tell me shit for the rest of the day. I was like, well, do you know who acknowledged it? Right? But it's those types of things, and I hope that one day we can give somebody that same feeling, right?
Yeah, I got you.
But just being in there, and the same thing happened too, again with Jacques Slade, the sneaker reviewer that I follow, that actually follows us on social media, right? Same thing with him. I've messaged him a couple times with things or commented on a couple things, and it's not 100%, but he's responded.
To respond, yeah.
And he's took the time to respond. And again, it could be luck with the draw. It could be I'm catching them when they're on. But you're talking about people. These people have millions of followers. Jacques has millions of followers on YouTube.
I think, man, honestly, I feel like even one of the responsibilities of having these types of platforms and people following you and doing all of this kind of, I feel like for you to be successful, like to truly be successful, you have to have that kind of response. Right. Because, people are following you, they're listening to your content, they're supporting you, you're getting paid by it, all of these types of things, right? And so at the end of the day, I think it's just nice to be nice sometimes.
It is, man. And it makes, I mean, just talking about the story, I'm still happy about it. I don't get happy about a lot of stuff.
Like I can tell
But
that both of those comments meant a lot to.
Huge.
Yeah.
It's huge, right? Because you're being acknowledged for your efforts. I was just being a genuine person, making I wasn't doing it to get something out of it. I wasn't doing it because I want to be featured on your whatever.
You didn't shoot it from that. And I believe, you know what I'm saying, because I think you're trying to sometimes you downplay stuff. Even when you're bringing it up, you still downplay it. And you said, oh, well, maybe, you know, it's just by happenstance. Maybe they were just on the day. Or maybe they saw that it was genuine. Right. Maybe out of all of the messages that they get, or can you be on my podcast, or, you know, can you do this or do that? To have something say, hey, I hope you get better, you're going to get back out there, was enough in that moment for them to say, I appreciate you. Thank you. And we're able to see something genuine or hear something genuine in a sea full of sharks.
And there's a lot of them out there.
It's a lot of sharks out there, man. You know, and I think it's important, even at that level, people still need to know that there's a genuine call or genuine care, for who I am as a person.
Right.
And not this persona of who you think I am.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I'm still hurt.
No,
right?
Exactly. You know, you're still hurt, you're still out there, you're still suffering or whatever. And I think that it is. And I mean, maybe it's a cheat code or whatever, but I mean, they have been, everything that has been commented on has been genuine.
Got it.
Right. And, you know, like even like Jacques did this thing. He has a show that does Hard Pass that usually comes out Mondays, Wednesday, Tuesdays, whatever. I mean, it just depends on, I guess, his show schedule, but generally Mondays is when I see it. And he just did this really touching piece around violence and sneakers and material things not being worth a life, because we just lost someone else over a stupid sneaker raffle. And the amount of passion that he had in it, like there's a co-writer, right? There's a writer and there's a script and there's a teleprompter and stuff that he reads off of, right? Obviously, but the passion that was there when he was delivering it was just so real and so touching, and it got me, man. I was like, damn, like, even though I feel that way anyway, like it was a very good, it was well put together, and he spoke from his heart, and I just wanted him to know that, and maybe he would see it, maybe he didn't, right? And I put that out there because, like, right, it's the little things, and I'm nobody in this world to him, to his whatever couple million people that he has on there. I'm a small speck, right? But on the off chance that he does see it, maybe he will see that, like, man, like, you know, I don't know you, you don't know me, but I'm acknowledging that you did good work.
Yeah, right.
You know, and that makes a big difference, being able to say, hey, you know, this isn't just about I'm trying to get a follow or I'm trying to get a shout out, I'm trying to get anything. I just want you to know I appreciate what you did.
Those genuine moments are fuel, man. Honestly, for anybody that receives that kind of, hey, you know, I see you, I acknowledge you, and you matter. You know, when you can hear that in some type of sentence, you know, however it's packaged, you know what I'm saying? It's fuel. And sometimes it's the thing that shifts your whole mindset in that moment, right?
It does.
There's been people that I know I've talked to who were considering, you know, just throwing in the towel, but just checking on them. Hey, I was thinking about you. You know, I don't know what's going on, but I hope all is well. You know, I love you, and that was enough for them to know that they mattered,
right,
to somebody that may not have necessarily been in their immediate situation, but that you were on their mind, right?
Right.
And that for me is something that is valuable more than money.
No,
is knowing that you matter causes you to do something more, to do something, and that and what we say is a little thing, but it's actually pretty big.
No, it is, and that's the thing is, right, it doesn't cost you a whole lot. It doesn't.
What does it cost you at all?
Lot. Yeah, I mean, well, some people it hurts, right? Like I hate checking on people. I mean, I'm terrible at it, and I need to be better at it myself, and doing those little things, or just saying, hey man, just checking in, or hey, whatever, just checking in, making sure you're good, and moving on about my business. Not because I want a response or because of whatever, but just to know that, yeah, those people that are around me do matter. And sometimes you do get a little lost, and because, oh well, I'm fighting with this person, or last time we talked it wasn't so good, or I'm mad at this person, or whatever. And it takes away from you wanting to do those things, but they are important, and even if you don't know somebody, you can still impact their
right. And that's what you've done, right? You didn't personally know those guys, right? You're following them just like the other thousands of people that are, but at the end of the day, your response was genuine, man. And there's something, man, that I believe there's benefits in it, and this is not why I do it, but I've gained business by just saying, hey, how are you doing? Right? Because I was checking in on former people that touched my life somewhere along the journey. And hey, I thought about you today. I hope all is well with you and the family. And then maybe a week later, hey, I got your text. I was busy. Thank you for checking on me. Hey, we were thinking about buying a house. Literally.
Yeah.
It's been that kind of stuff. And so sometimes there's not that you go into it looking for that, but sometimes there's a reciprocation that's so much greater than what you were expecting. All you were doing was being genuine, right? And reaching out.
Just checking, yeah.
And then there was a reciprocation that came back on it that says, you know what, maybe I'll keep doing this.
Right.
Maybe I won't allow my situation to hinder me from reaching out, because there's something clearly that's connecting out there in the marketplace, man.
It's huge. It really is huge, and it's funny. Like there's just a lot of ways. That's funny. There you go. There's just a lot. There's just a lot of ways that you can do it, and I remember, and it was on the news at one point back in the day, and I wasn't part of that news story, but it was a separate one. But you always see that they had like the news stories or whatever, where like the people paying for the other people's meals.
Yeah.
Right. So like I was actually a part of one of those things at one point in time, right? And this was actually in Florida. but at the end of the day, what it was is I was going through Chick-fil-A at the time, and some people don't like Chick-fil-A right now, but whatever. Neither here nor there. Doesn't change the fact I was hungry as shit. Chick-fil-A was right there. So I was actually at Chick-fil-A, and I was going through the drive-thru, and I remember them telling me that I didn't have to pay for my meal because the person before me paid for my meal. And I was like, what? Like, yeah. I didn't know what to say to that, right? Right. And it was really cool, it was really cool, and it felt good to know that I could just, if I wanted to, I could be that and just drive off with, I could drive with my free meal, right? But I didn't.
Okay.
So for me, what I did, and it was just whatever, I was like, that's a really cool thing. And they had told me that it had been going on in their area for, I don't know, like the last like 2 hours or something like that. They had been, it had been rolling. So I told them, I said, you know what, everybody in line behind me, all the way back up to it, I'm gonna pay for all of them. And they're like, how much is that? It didn't end up being a lot of money. Like it was, I don't know, maybe like $60.
Got it.
$60 is a lot of money to some people, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, like there was like 7-8 cars, and so I paid for all of them, right? Yeah. And it kept going. I went back there the next day. They said that thing ran all the way through till the end of the night, you know, and that at some point in time, there was someone in that line.
Yes.
Who was struggling.
There was a single mother.
Yes.
With 3 kids yelling in the background.
Just trying to get a healthy meal.
Just trying to get a decent meal for her and her family. She didn't even get anything for herself.
Exactly.
Some nuggets and fries for the kids.
Exactly.
And when it hit her and she didn't have to pay for it, that's the intentional stuff that I'm talking about. Like that kind of stuff gives me chills, man. Because honestly, I truly believe that God sets us up in that way, right? I don't think it's by happenstance. I don't think it's by chance. I feel like those are the kind of things that make life better. When you can do those types of things, like when you have it and can offer it, not that you have to be somebody's bailout plan, but that you can just be nice for no reason. I think it's, I think that helps the world at the end of the day.
It does, man. And that's the thing is it doesn't take a whole lot. I mean, it doesn't have to be money, but I mean, I just use that. I think about how many times when you go through the drive-through, how many times do you go there and do you think about that person behind you, right? I would say probably next to none.
Because you're already thinking about your food and making sure you get your sauces.
Yeah.
And get to your next appointment.
And get to your next thing, right? Yeah. And you don't think about that person that's behind you. And what is it really going to cost you if you have the funds to do so? Just so I want to pay for that person's meal behind me too. You don't have to get out and say nothing to them. You don't have to do anything. Just
waving and hey, I just
you don't got to do that. Just do it and take your meal and drive off. And
drive
that's going to change somebody's day. That's going to change somebody's day.
And let life be different, right? There was I've paid groceries a couple times, right? Because I've noticed there's been times when I just didn't. I literally, and it hadn't been that far off, but had to go to my little coin jar at the house, and pour those coins into the coin machine, get the little ticket, and then go, and get these dollars, right?
Yep.
I've had to do that, right? That's been part of the process, and I didn't get mad about that because I still had it, right?
Yeah.
It sucked that this is what I was doing, but at the end of the day, college degree, all of these kind of, you go through this pride thing in your mind of where you feel like you should and shouldn't be.
Right.
It's kind of off, but so in doing that, I know what that feels like. You know what I'm saying? And so there's been opportunities where I was like, okay, and you have a couple extra dollars, and you're in line. Boom, go ahead and pay for the groceries behind you. And I've done that, right? Not with any expectations that they were going to say anything, not even looking for a thank you, but just because in that moment, there was something that pricked my heart to do it. I did it and I moved on. Right. I didn't wait outside for them and say, hey,
that's because of me.
Yeah, I'm glad you got your groceries. Just know that I paid for them.
Right,
if there's then now you're gratifying yourself, right?
Yeah.
And everything you did was for naught. But there's been times where I did that and it didn't come back in that, but maybe it came back in something else, right? Because maybe I got a phone call that week that somebody was looking for a rental, or maybe come back, and honestly, God's honest truth, I had done a logo for a guy and he hadn't paid me in over 2 years. I had done something like that previous that week. I get this phone call about, hey man, I'm sorry. It's been crazy. I'm going to actually use your work and I didn't want to use it without paying for it. I hadn't followed up with this guy. I hadn't called this guy. I had already sent him, his past due invoice.
Right.
A year ago, and I had just written it off. But here it came out of the blue.
Comes back to you.
It came back, right? And it was 3 times more than what I had paid for the groceries. And so I was just like, okay, well, yeah. Okay. All right. That's when you get that, you have to try to hold a tear back, like,
yeah.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's a good thing. It does pay off, and it does make changes, and it does really shift people's lives, man. I mean, even if it's just for a day, even if it just makes them better for a day,
moment,
just a moment. That's
a moment.
It's huge, Also, though, sometimes though it's funny because we tell these stories of doing these things. Sometimes, man, it's God, I feel bad because maybe it was a little. I don't want to say spiteful. I don't know, man. But it's like several years back, I went to an opening of a new restaurant. I'm not gonna say who it is. It was a very Caucasian restaurant.
Okay.
Let's just say that.
Very Caucasian.
Yeah, it's a very Caucasian restaurant, and we, they were not. We're in the South here, so
okay.
Some of them are not always overly accepting. Restaurant had just opened up. It'd been open for a while, and not like a while, but like.
Were you in Houston or Florida?
Weekend ish. I was in Houston. I just barely got here.
Okay.
And I was just waiting to go see. Like, you couldn't get all the booths were filled, the tables were filled, and they just had like this one like bar that ran down the middle of the restaurant, and you could sit, on either side, whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
So I got there, I got in line, I put my time in, whatever, and there was a group of old white ladies that were like there as well. And for whatever reason, I got seated first, right? There's one of me, and there's like 4 or 5 of them. They're having their, ladies' night out, wine, whatever, and they're all had to have been 60 to 67, I don't know, in their 60s, right? And ironically, they ended up getting sat next to me on this bar, and I could hear them just mumbling about, he got seated before us and this and that, and like just being rude as shit, right?
But one of you and 6 of them.
And you're whatever, and you're saying all these things, and you're being a little bit racist, whatever, it is what it is. And so I just sat there, ordered my food, I ate my food, and they had over there, they had their appetizers, they had drinks, they had like all of this stuff, whatever. I told the waitress I wanted my check, and then I asked her, I said, hey, all these ladies, everything that they have over here, I said, go ahead and close their ticket out. I want to pay for everything they have right now. All their drinks, all their apps, all their food, everything. And she was like, what? I said, yeah. I said, you can close their ticket out right now. If they want to stay later, that's fine, but I want to pay for everything that they have. And she goes and closes it out. I want to say, like, I ended up paying like, this is over $100, I think it was, for their stuff, right? I didn't leave, which is what, and it wasn't for my gratification. It was just kind of for spite a little bit. So I walked up to the most loudmouth one of them, and I just walked up to her and I said, excuse me, ma'am. She looked at me with an attitude, and I said, I apologize that there was some confusion. It looks like I got sat before your table was. I said, well, just so you know, I took care of all your bill. You guys don't have to worry about it. I hope you guys enjoy your ladies' night. Have fun and whatever. And then, if you could have seen the look on their faces, oh my God!
When white gets whiter,
the look on their faces, and it was just like, foot in mouth.
Yeah.
One of them started tearing up, and I hope in that moment that gesture changed some of that.
Hope.
Yeah, I hope, right? Yeah. I hope. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't, right? But to me,
but it was huge. It was so, yeah. It was 50-50 for you. Actually, it's 75. No, actually, probably 100%.
It was all for me.
All for you. All for you.
Because
you sacrifice your money for it,
yes.
Right? But at the end of the day, again, I don't believe anything is by chance or by happenstance. So clearly, I think there was probably some type of, at least for one of them in the group,
a change. And I would have paid twice that amount for the looks on their faces. It was great. It was great, right? And I'm not asking everybody to do that, but it is those little things, right? That whole situation could have gone
because you could have proven ways. You could have given them more fuel to feel the way they felt.
Exactly.
By responding in a way that they assumed you would have.
Exactly.
Right? Because we're all angry and we're all, scary and all these other kind of things, which is another podcast.
A whole nother podcast.
Yeah.
Hold your purse and cross the street.
And lock your doors and get in the elevator and get to the back corner. Girl, it's hot in here.
Exactly.
Nobody trying to...
It's
hot and it's musty in here. Ain't nobody trying to don't care about you.
No, at all.
Okay, sorry.
At all. You know, but I mean that's the truth, right? And
it's the truth.
But that's also part of the reasons why I did it, right? Because it's those little things.
Even those little things, though, right? Because we talk about little things producing a good result. Sometimes those little things produce a negative result. That even if we could deal with this little thing in a better way, then it still has the potential to produce a good result. But right now, it's almost sometimes those little things produce a bigger expectation that it's hard for you to jump over now, right?
Yeah.
Because I now, I have started making a joke out of some of that kind of stuff, right? Where I'll start fiddling around like something's wrong. I was ashamed of myself when I did this, because we got into the elevator and I could already see the thing unfolding, and I just really started doing ignorant stuff, like hitting the buttons hard, and it's just like, so again, that was me paying the bill, right?
You paying the bill.
I paid the bill,
yeah.
Because I just wanted, there was no lesson in it. Other than me being a jerk, but I was just like, man, I'm not for it today. And you don't even know me,
right?
You have no idea. I'm the biggest, softest bear in the world, and here you are, oh man, come on.
But you gave her a good story. She can go sit there, tell her friends how she cheated death.
Yeah, right. Probably was on Facebook Live 2 minutes out of the elevator. This big guy just really.
He came in here. He tried to tear all the buttons off the elevator. I was scared of him. I couldn't exit. Right?
He blocked my path. It becomes big, man.
Yeah, the whole thing, and that is the I guess the backside of that coin. Is that sometimes the little things can turn into really negative.
Because the fact that you needed to prove something to them, right? Where if we contradict that, right? Because I don't want this show to become that, right? But the fact that you in one, here you are with thousands of people, and you shoot this message over to somebody and say, "Hey, I'm glad you're doing well. I hope that everything's going good for you. Do, right?" Which was then he responds to, and then over here the same guy is now sitting at a table eating food, and there's all of this chatter about your character and about, that can get to you, man. And you can begin to, have this battle of thoughts about, people assuming that you're something that you're actually really not.
And, I think that's my daily life.
Right.
For me.
Yeah.
Especially for me. When I think about it, maybe there's people that look at the podcast, it's going to be a little different, right? Because they get a different perspective of us and who we are. But hell, I know for me myself, I have a hard time trying to find somebody. I can't honestly think of anybody really that initially liked me. As odd as that sounds, generally when I talk to people, it's just like, when I first met you, I didn't like you. When whatever, because I can be a bit of an asshole or a bit of a standoffish or whatever it may be. But I find that a lot of people are, when I first met you, I didn't like you. When I first met you, I was a little unsure. When I first met, of whatever it is. And that's the thing is, I guess we don't take the time to dissect people or view people as people or view people where they are in their life and address accordingly. We just take it all in, right? And it's the little things, right? It's the little things that make the big difference.
I think sometimes, man, even for the people that are honest and givers and actually available and open and really love deeply, most of those people are also the most guarded. Is because life has taught them that they need to be that way. Because if I let you into my inner circle, then I don't have a lot of control over this other stuff.
Right.
And I'm gonna make myself vulnerable in a way that I can't really pull that back. And if I can't pull it back inside, then I'll keep you on the outside.
Right.
Right. And so sometimes, I along the way, I've been that person where it's like, you know what, I can close it off because I'm better if I don't let you in. Because once you're in, then now we got a problem, right?
Yeah.
Now we got a problem because I don't have a whole lot of inhibitions on the inside when it comes down to making sure that you're okay or not, or assisting or helping or trying to make sure you're good.
Yeah.
And I'll pour a lot of my resources into that time, energy, effort, whatever it is, right? Just to make sure that the people that I say that I love, that they know it. Right, and can feel it. And so when all of that happens, man, I think that's one of the things that you do as well, is that up front you have this presentation, of get away from me, I don't want to talk to you, When at the end of the day, it's kind of that defense mechanism. It's the porcupine, that turn his back and flares up to make himself bigger, right?
Right.
Even though that one can hurt. But
yeah, it can.
That one can hurt.
Yes, it can.
But
good Lord, it can.
Yeah. But I can see that, that sometimes we put up this defense mechanism to keep you from really seeing the truth of my heart on the back end, because it's been bruised too many times.
Right.
Right.
I mean, it is. Yeah. I mean, that's for sure a thing, right? You lose. Once you've been whooped one time, you know what's coming.
And then you do it. You still have to fulfill it, right? But you do it anonymously by paying, instead of paying for one person behind you, paying for 6 people behind you, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It becomes that thing that you still have to find an outlet for it.
Right.
Because it's who you are. Right?
Yeah. No, for sure. But I think that's who. Well, I don't want to say everybody, but I think the majority of us feel good being able to give, or feel good being able to help. I mean, there's people out there that just take. Like those people, we're not talking about them, but I mean, to be able to make a difference, to be able to touch someone, or emotionally, mentally, to be able to make them feel better or watch them achieve the goal. I think that's ultimately what we all want, right? And that has a higher value than any material thing or any dollar aspect of it, right? You can have all the money in the world, but if you're not doing anything valuable with it, it's pointless. If you're not feeling fulfilled doing something, I don't think it makes that big of a difference so you do have to be able to touch those people. You have to be able to reach out and I don't know, see what you can influence, in a positive way, and it doesn't take, we talk about, money and paying for things and stuff, but like we said before, it doesn't take much. It just takes that conversation, those words, those, haze, whatever's, those, whatever it is, right?
Yeah, right.
And I think that we do forget that sometimes, and people need it, and you don't always know when they need it. And even then, like some people, you see them and we have conversations, whether it's with the podcast or on social media, like these reach out, and some people just want to talk to talk. They need to talk.
Yeah, right.
Like you're messaging me about a podcast, but there's something else there. Yeah, there's a deeper meaning,
of course,
behind your words or your actions or whatever it is. And even if I'm not an active ear and that message just goes in there, I'll see it at some point.
Yeah.
Right. And it's an acknowledgement that I've seen it.
Right.
And now I respond. So not only that I've seen it, that I heard it, now I'm going to respond. And that gives them some type of, gratification or comfort or whatever it is.
That's one of the things, man, and I just thought about you when you said that, the acknowledgement. I think there's one thing that's hard about technology that has hurt us, and you'll see what I'm saying in a second. So on social media, even on your phone, right? Depending on who's on your network and what type of phone you have, you can send a message and then you can know if it's been read or not.
Yeah, I hate that.
You know if it's been read or not, right?
Yeah,
okay, so mine, you send it, it says sending, and it says delivered. And then after it's been delivered, then it'll switch to read when they actually read the message, right?
Yes.
And so I think we can get caught up sometimes in the expectation, because now it's been read and I still hadn't heard anything back from you in 2 hours.
Yeah.
I know you saw it. I know you read it, but you haven't even acknowledged it, And so we find ourselves in these mind games where even those little things like that begin to create this bigger dynamic of thoughts and responses and emotions about things. And dang, they were busy at work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And just couldn't get to it or something. But now we've created a full narrative. We're both creative. So now we've lived this thing out in color about exactly what's going on and why they didn't say anything. And they still mad about 6 weeks ago when
when I said whatever. No, that's the blessing and the curse, right?
Yeah.
Right there, man. And I haven't played into it so much on my side, but I have been victim of it.
Right.
Right. And I'm just like, it is hard, and it's hard to tell that story. And I mean, hell, man, one of the things about me, and I try to tell people, my personal phone, because I have such an aversion to social media. I don't like it. I've said that before several times over. But just the phone in general, I don't have a ringer on my phone. I don't even have vibrate on my phone. I just don't, because I want to be able to, if I'm going somewhere or doing something, to do my best to be in that moment.
Got it.
And not consumed or pulled away from that or whatever. And I mean, I scroll through my phone if I have downtime or whatever, if I'm, doing whatever, but I don't have any real notification short of my phone will light up with the little, ring around the outside if I get a message. But if I'm not looking at it, I don't see it.
You don't see it, right.
And, a lot of times, people get upset because, I may have just been talking to them. Like, I sent them a message and they messaged me back 2 minutes later, and they don't hear from me for 2 hours, 3 hours, or whatever it is. And they're mad. Why didn't you answer me back? Why didn't you do this? What are you doing? What are you up to? I'm just like, I mean, if you must know, I took a piss and then I went downstairs to cook some food, and I was out doing grocery shopping. I was at Costco, and it took me 12 hours to load my trunk up and then drive on, whatever it is. I buy a lot of Topo Chico, right? So it takes a while.
It takes you 12 hours?
No, it doesn't. I wish. That's a lot of Topo Chico.
Well,
but I spent a lot of time at Costco, unfortunately. Either way, neither here nor there. But yeah, you do fall victim to that. Or, I do look at something and I read it, and then, the doorbell rings, or I'm at work and someone calls me or whatever,
and what you were thinking, or what even the thought process you had to the response that you were about to make is shifted, right?
Oh, it's gone.
It's gone, right?
Gone. Yeah.
And now you're on to the next thing, and then you come back to that maybe, later on that day or even the following day.
If you even remember, you know, and because things will happen, especially if you're a busy person, you're moving, if you're getting a lot of calls constantly.
Yeah.
I mean, it does, whatever the new fire is pops up, and you got to take care of it.
One of the things for me, man, is in those things, because we're talking about the little things, right?
Right.
And there's a scripture that says it's the little foxes that destroy the vine. And the idea about that is that they would send small foxes. They would light the tails of foxes, send them out into a dead field, and they would just burn it down, right? It would catch fire. So imagine corn dried after it's been picked. Now, how do you clean it, right? Instead of coming and pulling it all up, burn it down. And so it's the little things that cause this thing to destroy the entire crop sometimes.
Right.
And one of those things is I prefer to have a conversation over a text message. So call me as opposed to texting me, is especially if there's something that we need to, that in depth, that we need to have a conversation about, where it can get lost in translation, because you don't see emotions, you don't hear tone of voice, you don't,
no context.
There's no context there, and that little thing can destroy the whole situation, right? Because I took it a certain way. My wife, I laugh at her all the time. It's because she says the message. Somebody send her something. She says the message in the way that she believes that they said it, right? And so, and so you get the whole gamut of it, right? And I'm like, do you really feel like they said it that way? Like, how do you know that that's there with that energy is what I know? Because I know how that. Oh, okay, all right.
Dang, I mean, I've been guilty of that before, right? Especially if you're arguing with somebody, like you just some of them words that stand out, when you're reading it back. But you said,
right?
I
get it if it's in all caps. Okay, yeah. So now you're yelling, right? I get that. I get the all caps, right? But if I just text you and and this is how we're responding in the moment,
right?
Do your best not to
take it the wrong way.
Yeah,
that's a hard thing to do sometimes, though.
Which is why, for the little things, when it comes down to situations like that, I'll even say, you know what, let's not talk about it now. Let's wait.
Right.
And talk about it in person.
Right.
When we can have a better understanding so that these little things don't create a bigger thing.
Right. Yeah, man. It's crazy, man. No matter what the circumstances, good or bad, I mean, it's always the little things, right? I guess that's why they say, right, there's the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah.
Which I never understood why camels were.
They're carrying straw.
Hauling straw.
Because they needed it for needed it for brick building.
I don't know. I guess maybe Hollywood has misled me. I never really seen camels
with straw.
So whatever.
So I'm going back to my my Bible stories, right? Where they had the straw in this wrapped and then they lay it across the back. That's the only way I can figure it, because it's not just loose straw on their back.
Yeah, but it's not. It's never enough to break their back. That's why it was always like a bundle, right? Like I don't know. Neither here nor there.
Bundles,
but
huh?
bundles.
Oh, we got bundles.
It's bundles, but that's the thing, right? It's always the minutia of things. It's a big word. I use minutia.
I know that's nice, man. That's pretty good.
College level, right there. Didn't even see that coming, right? But it's always the little things that make the big difference, because even whether if it's a negative aspect or you're in an argument with someone or whatever, it's like it's this one. Forget all of this that was positive, or all of this that could have been good, or all of this that's whatever.
That trigger.
This right here.
Yeah.
This one little thing, and it's also on the other side of that, the smallest little thing of a high five or a good job, or and simple acknowledgement.
And so they go both ways, man. You have 6 in his hand and half a dozen in the other, right? And so it's the little thing that can make your day great, or it's the little thing that can destroy your day. And just
like that,
you have to be in the mindset on which one you're going to allow it to do. Right?
Exactly.
Which one are you going to take? Because honestly, bro, you said like we take a little thing. That's the last straw, right? The straw that broke the camel's back. That was the last straw. But then also let's look over on this side at a seed, right? And look at a seed, very small, produces a tree at the end of the day. Yeah, it's going to grow and all of those kind of things. But again, it's still a very small thing that has potential to grow into something that produces fruit. This over here is a very small thing, but then it has the potential to destroy,
burn the whole house
burn
down.
the whole house down.
Oh,
Right.
right. Yeah. You know, you drop a cigarette in the middle of the forest.
And
you know,
now all of
and
California is burned up.
the whole wildfire. You know, it's kind of crazy when you think about it, and you think about, you know, it's all a game of inches, and maybe
Like
it's
that,
a different perspective that we need to take when we're tackling these aspects of our life, either good or bad, and, you know, break them down to the little things. You know, I think a lot of times we get stuck in the big picture. You know, this is the end goal, and this is the this, that, or the other, but we don't take time to look at those little finite details. And really, on the positive side, some of those things are what create the biggest joys in life. You know, the small details, and it's hard for me to relate it to where people can understand, but if I think about a say like a luxury car versus a base model car, right? You know, they say, well, where's the cost? And we're talking about drastic lefts and rights here. The cost is in those details, when they finish everything perfectly.
Right.
You know, when
the hand stitching.
Yeah, the hand stitching, when the screw heads are all the same and perfect, and they're not, you know, slightly stripped or whatever, and the dash, you know, is covered in perfect, you know, the touch materials, everything works flawlessly. Like everything you could possibly think that you might need is there.
Yeah.
You know, and that's where the beauty of it all falls into place. It doesn't matter if it's making a car or distilling a spirit or growing a garden, you know, all the details. And the more that you look at it, you know, like an art piece, the more that you look in it, the more you see, the more that they added, and then it adds another layer of depth to whatever, you know, that project is the amount of detail that's put in. And it's all little things. It's never one big giant, you know, brush stroke or you know, whatever.
Right.
It's all those little tiny pieces, and I don't think that we focus enough on those pieces to create that bigger masterwork art piece picture. You know, I think we just see it as it's the finished product.
I like what you said, man. It's when you talk about the inches, right? The thing is, man, as I look at it, an inch, if you start with an inch, right, and that inch is off, by the time you get further down, you're a miles
away.
You know what I'm saying? So it's important that you take thought, that you take care of these smaller inches, because those inches ultimately, where you thought you were going straight, you're actually veering, because you're still right. All it took was the 1 inch, right? And what is it? I'm going just left here. What's the relativity?
Missed by inch, missed by a mile.
What's the theory of relativity? Nothing. Everything stays in motion unless acted upon. That's Newton's theory of something.
I'm not smart enough for all that. I'm gonna take your word for it though.
But an object in motion will stay in motion unless acted upon by an unbalanced force, right? And so if something comes and bumps it just slightly, now it's no longer going in the same direction, right? And it didn't take a big bump.
No.
All it took was a little bump.
Just a little bit.
And so now it's veering off, still going straight, but now veering to the left or to the right, right? And so it's those little things that we still need to be mindful of, because it only takes a little bump. And where we were going straight, now hopefully, you know, it's those good small things that hopefully will take us in another direction that's better than where we were going, and not get confused by these other things on the other side, man.
I like it, man. Moral of the story: take care of your inches.
Take care of your inches. I look, bro. That means a lot. It's on a whole lot of levels. Take care of your inches. Yes.
Take care of your inches. Let's leave it right there, man. Let's leave it right there. I like that.
I like it too.
Yeah. I'm ready to play now. Put me in the game now. I came here to prove it. I'm ready to do it. I can't be afraid now. Put me on the stage now. I'm ready to rage now. I feel like